Okay, grade 12, so I taped 2 long videos of the lesson because there was a triple lesson today. And then I started the third one, and it was just going through the summary diagram. And you will see it on Google Classroom. It's also on Moodle. It's the introductory notes. The video you saw, it actually stopped somewhere here. So I just want to go through the rest. And then you can go through these questions in this introductory handout if you want, just to try and get an idea of how to read off those cadograms. And then I will also post the model answer up as well. Okay, so I know you can't see, but at least you're going to follow on yours. All right, so over here, we said, at Darwin, he looked for evidence for evolution. You can't put forward a theory if there's no evidence. So there was the fossil record, comparative anatomy, looking at the pentadactyl limb. We'll get to this. So vertebrates, so fish and frogs and birds and reptiles and mammals, we all have a basic plan of the pentadactyl limb. But, well, if you think of birds, they fly. Dolphins use them as flippers. We use them to do lots of things. Crocodiles walk on their forelimbs like that. And amphibians, frogs and things, they land, when they jump and they land on their front legs and they use it as a shock absorber. Okay, general knowledge. All right, then I started, so then comparative anatomy. So in the beginning, if you had to look at the embryo of all those vertebrates, whether it's fish, frogs, birds, mammals, reptiles, they all look very similar. We'll see that later. You can't really tell the difference. So surely that denotes some kind of common ancestry as well. And then a common ancestor gave rise to fish and frogs and reptiles and birds and mammals, because we all look similar when we're little embryos. Then over here, vestigial organs, organs that we have remnants of, that other organisms, other vertebrates have. So for example, we just have an appendix, a tiny little organ that is much bigger in other mammals. It's the cecum, the large part of their digestive system which helps them to digest cellulose, all that plant matter. We also have the little coccyx, the tailbone. We all, in the embryo form, all these vertebrates have a tailbone, but ours gets absorbed and we're left behind with a coccyx. In the embryo, it's there, so it's a vestigial organ. Okay, there are others. What's the other one that we talked of in class? Vestigial. Okay, that's enough for now. We're going to do this in more detail later. Biogeography, the fact that in South America, Africa, and Australia, that there are the rheas, the ostriches, and the emus, and they have a common ancestor that was roaming Pangaea when the continents were, it was one large continental mass. So and they're similar to one another, but they each evolved in their own way to become different species on those different continents. So that's the evidence called biogeography. And then molecular biology. So now, back in Darwin's time, they looked with their eyes. They looked at using simple microscopes and looked at fossils and that. We now have molecular biology. We can look at the DNA, the sequence of the nitrogen bases. So pigs, we used to use pig insulin for people who are diabetic. Nowadays, as you've learned in genetic engineering, bacteria are engineered to produce humanin for humans to use. So pig insulin is similar enough. So surely if pig insulin and human insulin are similar, they have a similar DNA sequence or nitrogen-based sequence, surely that denotes a common ancestry, okay, that they evolved from the same common ancestor. But in fact, gorilla and chimp insulin are even more similar to human insulin. So if you look at the DNA, the sequence of the nucleotide bases, or at the actual amino acids, the sequence of amino acids on the protein, they're very similar. All right, then over here, so, okay, that was C, now D, all right? I can't read this. Can't read that word. Okay, but anyway, Charles Darwin came up with a theory of natural selection, but he didn't just sit there by himself and work it out or figure it out or come up with this theory. He was influenced by his grandfather, Erasmus Darwin, by another naturalist, Alfred Wallace, All right, we'll talk about their relationship and how they both came up with the theory and why Charles Darwin only put forward the theory of natural selection. And then a very interesting chap, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, and he came up with the theory of acquired characteristics, which is different to natural selection. Okay, then then all this stuff here. So how does evolution take place? Well, we've mentioned a few of them. All the little processes. So microevolution, the change in the genes, the mutations, allowing for variation. So we're going to use words like genetic drift, gene flow. I don't know if I put natural selection there, okay? But anyway, mutations, we've talked about variations, genotype. If you're heterozygous, then you're a carrier, and then you could pass on that recessive gene to your children and so on. And what phenotype do you have? Do you have short? Are you short or are you tall? Whatever. In and out breeding we're going to talk about. Okay, the effect of that on evolution and on genes. And then here, so that's microevolution resulting in variation, right? But then macroevolution, the actual formation of new species, because there was so much microevolutionary changes that eventually a group, became a new species, or a couple of groups. All right, so these words at the bottom, we're going to bring all of that in. I'm not going to try and mention it all now. I've got summaries for you, and we're just going to bring the story together. And that's what this is. It's a story. It's a story about how evolution takes place, what mechanisms are in place, how did Charles Darwin come up with the theory of natural selection. And he looked at evidence, and nowadays we have new kinds of evidence. All right, so next lesson, we will start looking at Mrs. Page's PowerPoint. I'm going to be using her PowerPoint. My 6 PowerPoints are on Moodle. The one I'm actually I did show today as an introduction. And yeah, we've got 3 weeks. We're going to get this done. It's going to be okay. All right.